We also have to talk about the fact that Kamala Harris is admitting, Kamala Harris has effectively admitted, like, she scammed America. She straight up scammed America and actually had to come to terms with it. So what we're looking at here is, we're looking at, and I'm about to share this with you guys, footage where Kamala Harris admits that they effectively rebranded, rebadged, whatever you want to call it, this Green New Deal under the guise of the Inflation Reduction Act. Basically, it was a backdoor way to get the Green New Deal passed. This is why Donald Trump for a long time has been calling this a big fat huge scam.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for...
Did you guys hear that? Did you hear that? Like, this should make Americans enraged right now. Now, this comes on the back of Kamala Harris being clowned, literally embarrassed. People are making fun of Kamala Harris for having this old man that they're calling her dad in the form of Tim Walz babysit her, basically chaperoning her to be able to do this interview that she clearly couldn't do on her own with CNN. So take a look at this, guys. This is absolutely embarrassing for Kamala Harris. This is an image of Kamala Harris just sitting here with her hands folded. And if you notice, you have the CNN host, I believe her name is Dana. You guys can help me out with her last name. Dana is interviewing Kamala Harris. But what's interesting here, and this is part of why this is so embarrassing for Kamala Harris, the current vice president of the United States of America, you got Tim Walz face to face with the interviewer, but you have Vice President Kamala Harris sitting in the side chair. It's like Kamala Harris is not even sitting in a position of power. She's sitting in a secondary seat. You got to ask yourself, why is Kamala Harris not directly face-to-face with the interviewer from CNN, right? So this is more of an interview with Tim Walz than it is an interview between CNN and Kamala Harris. So again, this is another failure of Kamala Harris's campaign team, clearly dropping the ball here. Again, more evidence that Kamala Harris is not ready to be president of the United States. You guys let me know. I know there's a lot of Kamala Harris supporters here. What do you think about this? Do you think Kamala Harris should be face-to-face with the interviewer? Or should she be sitting like in a high chair, like she's a 5-year-old, or a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old being, chaperoned and monitored by Tim Walz during the CNN interview? You guys let me know. What's going on, guys? Breaking news. We have a lot of new polling data coming out about Donald Trump. And it looks like Donald Trump is actually beating Kamala Harris. And this is not good news. Kamala Harris has been getting a lot of bad news lately, and this is just kind of adding to her problems. But Donald Trump's getting a lot of good news. There is a lot of polling details we have to go in through today. And I hate to pile on the bad news, but Kamala Harris, this is after Kamala Harris gets roasted for bringing her dad along to her CNN interview. This is on top of Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat, coming out, changing her mind about Donald Trump, and ended up endorsing Donald Trump for president of the United States for 2024. And this is a really big week for Donald Trump. Not only is Donald Trump right now in Michigan hosting his MAGA rally, but also Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endorses Donald Trump And this was really a game changer, guys. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for sharing these videos on social media. It really does help us get the word out. But let's quickly talk about these polls here, guys. I mean, look at this, guys. We can see August 14th, Kamala Harris was beating Donald Trump 56.7% to Donald Trump's 42.7%. Now, this was the honeymoon period we were talking about for Kamala Harris that I told you guys this was not going to last. Mark my words, that this would not last. And sure enough, here we are, August 29th. This is today, guys. This is real time. This is breaking news. August 29th. Look at this. Donald Trump sitting at 52.4% with Kamala Harris sitting at 47.3%, right? So basically, after Meg Thee Stallion, all the hoopla and hype surrounding the Atlanta rally in Georgia with Kamala Harris, Meg Thee Stallion, Quavo, the Migos, after the DNC, all of this hype has exhausted. And we can look at the graph here. You can see on your screen how Kamala Harris, her polling numbers have effectively tanked here today. And Donald Trump's poll position is climbing. Okay? And I want you guys to look at this. Look at how the poll history has intersected. You could see at the point where essentially Kamala Harris was announced, she was basically placed as being the Democratic nominee because basically the coup that took place in the White House booted former President Joe Biden. Well, I say former president. I know he's already going. I know he's already on the way out the door. So I guess I'm kind of like, I got my hand on President Joe Biden's back right now because I'm already ushering him out the door by calling him the former president. Former President Joe Biden, he's on his way out the door. But you can see here the electoral college probability sitting here. Kamala Harris is sitting at a mere 47.3%. Donald Trump at a staggering 52.4%. This is outside the realm of statistical errors based on historical probabilities. In other words, given how much of a gap there is between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris right now, it really looks like Donald Trump could very well take it at this particular point in time. Okay. So essentially, this forecast indicates that Donald Trump has a very strong chance of winning. And let's not forget about the fact that Kamala Harris has had her cover blown yet again. So a source at McDonald's corporate confirmed that they have no record of a Kamala Harris ever working for them around the time and place that Kamala claims. Quote, "I did fries. Kamala Harris claims she worked at McDonald's, but she never mentioned it until she ran for president." So this is, again, another example of Kamala Harris trying to be anything and everything to everyone, okay? Kamala Harris swears she's black when she needs to be black. Kamala swears she's Indian when she needs to be Indian. Kamala swears she's, black, white, Asian. It's like, the old school Michael Jackson song, right? And yet again, her cover has been blown. So, did Kamala Harris work for McDonald's? Or is she just trying to relate to minimum wage earning individuals, the lower income, the lower middle class America? What is she doing here? Or is she just blatantly lying?
Guys, I never saw this on my 2024 bingo card, but the Swifties are waking up. The Swifties. I never thought I'd see the day that Swifties were rallying for Trump. I guess something with ISIS happened. There's a lot of terrorism going on. I guess she had to shut down some shows because of it. And a lot of them are just saying, if Trump was in office, this would have never, ever happened. She would be safe. There wouldn't be terrorism or wars going on because we had world peace before, and he'll do it again. So they're finally realizing it's not about race or gender or anything of that sort. It's about our safety and the policies and a secure border. And they're finally waking up, and it's wild to see. I'm so proud.
But of course, they would just paint this all as some one-off situation, arguing that support for Trump among Swift fans doesn't exist. But that isn't the case though, because the shirt that's seen in the AI-generated images was taken from one that was actually made by a fan. So her name is Jenna, and her last name starts with a P, and I can't pronounce it, but she's a Trump supporter. So the idea from fans like her is that the world was a much safer place with Donald Trump as the president of our country, which would mean safer access to concerts, and it would have also led to Swift not ending her European tour way too short. However, President Joe Biden doesn't agree with this idea. He legitimately seemed pissed off about the notion that the world was safer under former President Donald Trump, at least compared to his term.
Many of you are very successful people who travel the world. Name me a country in the world that doesn't think we're the leading nation in the world. Without America, not a joke, think about it. I'm being literal. Who could lead the world other than the United States of America? Well, guess what? America's winning, and the world's better off for it. America's more prosperous, and Americans are safer today than we're under Donald Trump. Trump continues to lie about crime in America, like everything else. Guess what? On his watch, the murder rate went up 30%, the biggest increase in history. Meanwhile, we made the largest investment, Kamala and I, in public safety ever. Now, the murder rate is falling faster than any time in history. Violent crime has dropped to the lowest level of more than 50 years. And crime will keep coming down.
This concept, though, isn't as common to many Americans. Many people truly believe that the Biden-Harris administration took us back a couple of years, and the fear within some communities just can't be ignored. It's this concern that led to the entire movement that some Swifties now support Donald Trump.
Hi, my name is Jenna, and this picture of me in this Swifties for Trump shirt has been going viral on X and started kind of a movement in the Republican Party. I actually met Trump in this shirt in Racine on June 18th, and he said, quote, "She is great." I think this movement is super awesome, but also super important because it's no secret that millions of young female voters consider themselves Swifties. And we don't want them to have to choose between loving Taylor Swift and supporting their conservative ideologies at the ballot box in November. So I say we stop the hate towards Taylor and her fan base, and let's let Swifties be for Trump fearlessly.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mainstream media is going to paint this as a hoax, but you heard what this young lady said. You could be a fan of Taylor Swift and support Donald Trump at the same time. It would be unfair for these people if they couldn't vote for who they wanted to vote for because their idol told them not to. That shouldn't be the case here. Although we have yet to hear any response from Taylor Swift regarding this issue. In fact, she hasn't even talked about politics in a while. I think she's staying in her lane. And guys, before we get started, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for liking the video, sharing this video, and for subscribing to the channel. Let's get started.
TMZ. They always have an inside scoop. They dropped it. They said it is confirmed. Beyoncé performing at the DNC's final night, 3 exclamation points, and the internet got hyped. The article read, Beyoncé's in Chicago and getting ready to pop out for Kamala Harris in the final night of the Democratic National Convention. Multiple sources in the know tell us Queen Bee will be the big surprise performer as VP Harris officially accepts the Democratic Party's nomination to run for president. And then they were correct. They wrote, as you'd expect, Beyonce's appearance is a huge deal, not only for Harris and the party, but in Chicago as well. We're told Chicago PD is on high alert as it's involved in security for Beyonce at the United Center Arena, as it should be. The Queen is here, and she's going to get all the black votes for the Democratic Party. That's what they need. And so it was official. And some people were even celebrating because they told you so. Like Don Lemon, he was giddy. Take a listen.
Beyonce is confirmed performing at the DNC. Didn't I tell y'all?
He's such a weird person. I love and hate him at the exact same time. I can't explain it. He's just so Don Lemon, you know. You gotta appreciate it. Didn't I tell y'all? So people were like, "Yes, it's amazing, it's happening," and then what happened next was that it didn't happen at all. It didn't even kind of happen.
So on the last night of the DNC, rumors swirled about Beyonce making an appearance. And as intended, it became the talk of the town. So Kamala Harris already goes out to her song called Freedom. So having her on the last night would absolutely spike these ratings like crazy. And this is an actual real life presentation of propaganda, guys. They weren't even shy about it. None of them tried to say that this wasn't actually happening. They just let the people's imagination go wild with just a simple rumor. A rumor that mainstream media went to town on. It forced her publicist, Yvonne Noel Score, to post a photo from the DNC with a caption that said that rumors should not be reported. And yet, the rumor did what it was supposed to do. Harris's convention speech hit a peak viewership of around 29 million people. Although the backlash of this news is that it wasn't taken well by both Democrats and Republicans. At least some of them were calling out TMZ for this mistake. But here's the best part. Left-leaning media defended the rumor by saying that Kamala Harris was the surprise guest.
In anticipation here and elsewhere that there may be a special guest, I am told by Democrats that Kamala Harris was their guest. They did not want a celebrity at the end of this convention to essentially compete with her. One senior advisor telling me this is a deadly serious election. And if you looked at the end of this program, having Leon Panetta come on, the former defense secretary, really presenting Vice President Harris as a plausible commander-in-chief, that is one of the reasons I'm told that there was not a celebrity performance at the end.
Now, I'm sure it's a serious election. We have Meg Thee Stallion twerking at your rallies. But I guess he's right. If Beyonce actually showed up, she would get a longer ovation than Harris herself. And it's funny that they have to explain themselves through CNN, which begs the question, just what else are they willing to lie to us about now? Now, not everybody from the left was in awe of this convention. Surprisingly, Jon Stewart kind of struck things right down the middle when he went against the grain. So Jon Stewart had some serious criticism of the DNC and what went on over there. The hypocrisy of his own party is just so glaring, he can't help but make jokes about it.
They had a guy yelling, "Screw the billionaires," followed immediately by a very happy billionaire. It's all okay if it's our billionaire. I don't like billionaires, but he's all right. They had guys making fun of people for going to Yale, and a bunch of people who went to Yale. They had Barack Obama. Jewish Barack Obama. That's always good for politics. You know what really works? A Jewish guy that sounds like a black guy. The Democrats had people who prosecuted sexual predators and... There goes that booking. They had black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, gay Americans, Jewish Americans, Palestinian Americans. Oh. Well, to be fair, it was only 4 nights, 8 hours a night. But really, it's best not to think about the consequences of our actions over there, especially given the theme of the week.
I can feel the excitement in this arena. It's filled with energy and with joy.
The air of joy. 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 Joy.
We will be joyful warriors. The president of joy.
Let us choose joy. Oh, it was joyful. before a convention, I know what real joy looks like because I've watched Oprah on her show. You thought people were happy to see her endorse Kamala Harris. You should see what they do when she gives them lip liner.
People want this. It's the Sony virus.
That's joy.
And that, folks, is hypocrisy. The fact that the left can criticize whoever they want. But if the same action is done by somebody on their side, then it's negligible. In fact, I think Chris Cuomo said it best when he was there himself. Watch this report.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging. And they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the two sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you that has to be spoken to here, okay? These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need to be able to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics.
So do any of you guys believe that both sides are actually in the palm of these elites? Now, I want to show you one last thing and take this with a grain of salt. Reports and photos are coming out that Tim Walz, the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, had a meeting with this guy. Who is he? Well, this is Alex Soros, son of George Soros. Now, we're not going to make assumptions over this photograph of Alex Soros, who's the son of George Soros, with Tim Walz. But I want you guys to at least know that this photo does exist, so do with that information what you will. But what do you guys make of the DNC? Was it as joyful as expected? Or was it all smoke and mirrors without talk of what Americans are going through right now? And this is a really big week for Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump right now in Michigan hosting his MAGA rally.
Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking patriots of the great state of Michigan. Nice state. And I also want to thank Allro Steel CEO Randy Glick. Just met Randy and he's fantastic. The job the family's done, he's done. It's beautiful. And all of the talented workers here at Allro Steel. I hope you're all happy. Are you happy with the company? I think, yes, huh? I think. Great company. And congratulations on 76 years of manufacturing in Michigan. And you had your best years 4 years ago, but you're going to have even better years coming up, I can tell you that. You're going to have even better. I'm here today with a simple message for the American auto worker and for the American worker. Your long economic nightmare will very soon be over. It's going to be over. We're going to turn it around. With your vote, we will defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, stronger, and just better, bigger, better. We love the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream. When was the last time you heard about the American dream? They don't talk about it, although they copy everything else I do, so I guess that'll be next. They'll be copying. They'll be saying, oh, the American dream. She doesn't know what the American dream is. Over the past 4 years, Kamala and crooked Joe Biden have presided over an economic reign of terror, committing one financial atrocity after another. As Vice President, Kamala cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in American history. You're all victims of it. We all are. Everybody is a victim of it. It's a nation buster, costing the typical family $28,000. Under her policies, household wealth has plummeted by $33,000 per family. The cost of the typical monthly mortgage has really tripled, and you can't get the money. So, you know, you will go from 2% to 10%, but you can't get the money at 10%. I guess they want more than that, but you just can't get the money. Credit card debt has ballooned by 40%, and they have the highest numbers in history right now. As of about 3 days ago, the highest number in history.
Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, please take a second.